Are you thinking of moving to Charlotte? Everyone always wants to know, before they move to Charlotte, what is the 2025 market going to look like? What is buying or selling a house in the real estate market this year going to look like in Charlotte, North Carolina? Be sure to tune into this video so you can learn everything there is to know about expectations on the 2025 market, Charlotte, North Carolina. Whether you're moving here from California, New York, or Florida, just to name a few of the most popular places that our buyers move to Charlotte from, you're going to want to understand what to look out for in the 2025 market, so let's get into it. So kicking us off with the first of 7 topics or 7 major things to think about for 2025 in the Charlotte real estate market. Number 1, interest rates. They were the hot topic last year. They were very high last year, especially at the beginning of the year. Everyone expected them to come down pretty significantly, and they didn't. So when they did come down, buyers went crazy. We noticed last year that in the spring market, when they were anticipating rates to come down in the summer, a lot of buyers flooded the market because they wanted to beat out the competition. They wanted to get in before everyone else came into the market when rates went down. Then what happened was rates didn't come down very much. And so we didn't see a lot of change in the interest rate environment. And as we went through the summer, they did start to finally dip. When they did dip, we had a lot of people enter into the real estate market. A lot of buyers came off the sidelines to be able to buy because rates were, 1% lower than they were at the beginning of the year. Now, with that, for 2025, what we think is going to happen is rates should cool off. A lot of people are thinking that they're going to hover in the 5s and 6s. Personally, I think 5s is a bit of a stretch. I would love that. I would love if rates were in the 5s. And I know you would love it if rates were in the 5s. Not only if you're thinking about buying, but also if you're thinking about selling. Think about it. A lot of sellers or homeowners have what we call the golden handcuff right now. They're sitting in a house where they paid 3% interest or 2.5% interest or 3.5%, whatever the percentage is that they're paying, but it's a historic low. They have such a hard time coming to grips with the idea of selling their house with a 3% interest rate, going and buying a bigger home, a more expensive home with a 7% interest rate where they're almost doubling or tripling their payment just to move into a new home. Now, if rates go into the 5s, maybe even 6, a lot of those sellers are willing to release the handcuff of their current home with their low interest rate in order to get something bigger to fit their lifestyle. A lot of people have true lifestyle needs, and that's where interest rates just simply don't impact them. Maybe they're buying, well, first of all, interest rates won't impact you if you're buying with cash. They won't be such a deterring factor because you need to get your kids into the good schools, or you have to move because you got relocated, or you had a death in the family and inherited the house and have to sell. Or maybe you got divorced and need to get rid of the house because you guys need to separate and get out of there. There's so many real life reasons why people are having to sell or having to buy where interest rates won't matter. Or they will matter, but they're gonna still do it anyways. So 2025, a lot of people think that rates are gonna hover in the 5s and 6s. I think that'd be awesome if it did. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of chatter that whether you are a fan of Trump or not, there's a lot of chatter that he is going to try and do things to lower interest rates. But then there's also, on the flip side, a lot of things that may go into place that would raise interest rates. So no one really knows what's going to happen, but at least now we do know who the president is going to be, whereas last year we had no clue, and it was the biggest topic of the year. Now we at least know who it is, and we know they're going to do something. And so fingers crossed it allows interest rates to come down because it'll help with affordability. So interest rates are going to be a very hot topic again this year. Hopefully they do cool down. A lot of experts do think that they will. So the next big prediction for 2025 is that inventory levels are going to remain very low, which, look, if you're looking to buy, it's going to make things a little bit tougher. If you are buying and moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, there's going to be a lot of competition again this year. We've seen that the last couple of years, and it sure does seem like we're going to see that again. Now, if you're thinking of selling here in Charlotte, that doesn't necessarily mean you can just overprice the home. It doesn't mean you can just jack the price up because you know that there's not a lot of inventory and there's going to be a lot of competition, because buyers are smart. There's a lot of access to data and information now, and they know when you're overpricing the home because they've seen every other house on the street when it's hit Zillow the last 3 years when they didn't buy. So do not overprice the house. You need to stay realistic if you're a seller. You want to make sure that you're talking to your agent and comfortable and confident in the comps and the pricing that you're using. The reason for that, again, is buyers have access to all this information. And then what that means for you is you're gonna end up sitting on the market for a while. You may not get a lot of showings, or you might get a lot of showings and you don't get offers. And you're gonna wonder, why am I not getting any offers? Well, because every buyer knows that it's overpriced and they don't wanna offend you and submit a low offer yet. But once you've been on the market for a handful of months, they have no problem coming in and offending you with a super low offer that you would have never taken in the first place. If you're a buyer though, having low inventory means you need to be comfortable and confident and ready to pull the trigger on a house if you see something that you like. You need to be pre-approved. You need to be ready to go. You gotta have the right agent. You gotta have the right loan officer. We talked about it in our 2024 video about being pre-approved. We talk about it in our what to do when you're looking to buy in Charlotte video. We always stress having a pre-approval, having a good lender, and having a relationship with that lender. So that way, when you need something on a Saturday afternoon, they'll answer your call. That is critical because you are going to fall in love with the house when it is most inconvenient. It's funny to say, but it's kind of how it works. It'll be the Friday that you're leaving to go out of town that the right house is gonna pop up and you're gonna have it. Or a Sunday afternoon right before you have a big Sunday dinner that you're gonna go see some house that has a 5 p.m. deadline for all offers and you won't have the time to make it happen or scramble around to talk to a lender, but you have to. So being prepared is super, super important if you're a buyer, especially in a low inventory market, which all signs are pointing to Charlotte, North Carolina, staying as a low inventory market in 2025. This video is going to go into some of the things that I knew nothing about 10 years ago when I moved to Charlotte, and chances are you probably don't know anything about either. So the third thing you need to keep in mind for 2025 is that they are expecting home prices to still go up nationally. Now, in historic years, we've seen home prices nationally go up at insane rates. And then regionally, locally, and very hyper specific for neighborhoods, they've gone up at wild growth rates. But nationally, they think they're still going to go up in 2025. So maybe it'll be 3 to 5% growth nationwide for the real estate market. Now, a lot of different submarkets, whether it's different prices, different neighborhoods, different regions, are going to see some growth and some will see some decline this year. But overall, as a whole, the nation is expecting to see higher home prices. But specifically for Charlotte, I have a feeling that we're going to far surpass that 3 to 5% growth rate because we've done it every other year. There are so many reasons why this is such a great city to live in, and that is going to drive real estate prices, which actually leads me into point number 4, which is everything is going to be very regionally based. So you're going to see some homes will do really well, some homes won't. And the reason for that is because of where they're located. Are they walkable like this? Are you able to walk right out your front door and go to the breweries on a Saturday afternoon with your friends? Or are you getting in the car and driving everywhere? Are you close to a lot of businesses and close to a lot of restaurants? Or are you in the middle of nowhere and it's a 20-30 minute drive for everything? Some people like that, some don't, but the bigger the buyer pool, the better it's going to be for you. So when we think about the regional piece and the regional aspect to real estate, especially here in Charlotte, you think about the quality of life, you think about the affordability, you think about, do you have a bunch of neighbors like this? Some people love that because it usually means you are in a more walkable area and a more urban area. Or do you want more space? All of these things are going to come into play in a big way in 2025. So that is a huge thing to keep in mind for this next year in the real estate market because it is going to drive prices, it's going to drive demand, and it's going to ultimately drive your sense of urgency as a buyer. Before we continue, I'd like to give you all a warm welcome to the Living in Charlotte channel. We're here with the top relocation team in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we provide videos every week for you to understand the ins and outs of the Charlotte real estate market. So be sure to take some notes and don't be afraid to pause the video as you go. My name is Andy GRIESINGER. My team and I get calls, texts, emails, and DMs from people like you every day who are thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. And whether you're looking to move here in a week from now, a month from now, a year or 2 years from now, whatever it is, we would absolutely love to help and we would love to hear from you. Now, if this is your first time on our Living in Charlotte channel, be sure to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know everything there is to know about the Charlotte, North Carolina real estate market. And so the fifth thing to think about or fifth prediction for 2025 is that new construction is going to be huge this year. Builders are going to keep building and they're going to build at a rapid rate. They've really started speeding up the pace of how fast they're building the last couple of years. And I think that that's going to continue this year. So be on the lookout for new construction, especially if you're willing to live a little bit further out. Or if you don't want to live further out, some of these types of options are going to be great for you because you're going to have more of an urban, watch out for that tree, you're going to have more of an urban lifestyle where you may have a townhome, you might have one neighbor or two neighbors, but you're able to live in a spot that is walkable and super convenient. But overall, big picture, new construction is going to be a huge force of the 2025 real estate market, especially in Charlotte. And so when you're looking at new construction, be sure to ask these builders about what incentives do they have. Are they providing closing cost credit? Are they providing things like appliances to you? Do they have preferred lenders that they can give credits if you use? All of these things actually remind me of our new construction video. So be sure to go check that one out. We'll drop a link in the caption so that you can get all of the information you need about new construction because there are lots of different types of builders out there. There's lots of different size builders. There's different price points. There's so many different things that you can do in the new construction world. The sixth prediction is that, and this is going to make a lot of sense with all of the affordability conversations, the low inventory conversations, new construction, what else? Interest rates. There's so many different things that are going into making real estate more unaffordable this year, which is hopefully why rates will come down. But because of all of that, rental demand is expected to stay very high, especially in a city like Charlotte where you have a scarcity for apartments and you have hundreds of people moving to this city every single day. So when you have tons of new residents moving into a city and you have a limited amount of supply for them, it's going to build up demand. And if they can't find the right house for them quickly, they're going to go rent something. And so because of that, rental rates are expected to stay very high this year. And if they do cool off, it'll simply be because people are able to get discounts or maybe first, like if you're the first one into a new apartment complex, they give all kinds of incentives. Other than that, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of relief for rental rates this year. A lot of experts think that rents are going to stay high and rentals are going to become more popular because it's so hard to get a house and because affordability just isn't there. So unless you want to call us here, feel free to look at some of those rentals because there are going to be a lot of opportunities for that this year as well. Because of how spread out this city is, one thing that we've noticed is a lot of our buyers have heard about a specific neighborhood or maybe a specific street and their dream home is situated right on that street. And it may not be possible to find that exact home on that street. So one of the things that our team has done, and I personally did, was I invested in one of the most high-tech artificial intelligence tools to help you narrow down exactly where we might be able to find some homes that may not be on the market yet with sellers who are willing to sell. If it ends up not being the perfect house for you, do you have to buy it? No, you don't. But it's one of the many tools that sets our team apart from everyone else in all of Charlotte, North Carolina. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop on a Zoom call, pull up a map, and go through the specific neighborhoods and streets that are gonna fit your needs. And more importantly, we're gonna cross off all the ones that just simply won't be a fit. And lastly, our seventh and final point of all the things you need to think about with the 2025 market and our predictions for Charlotte. Politics are gonna play a huge factor. They're going to play a huge role, obviously in a different way than they did last year. 2024 was a huge year for politics because of the presidential election. But this year, we're going to start seeing the impact of that. And whether you voted for him or didn't vote for him, voted or didn't vote, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your opinion or my opinion is. The fact of the matter is, we have a new president coming in this year, and they're going to be implementing new changes into the market, into the real estate market, into the stock market, into the economy, you name it. There will be international economic impacts of a new president. And the key with all of this, especially in the real estate space, especially here in Charlotte, North Carolina, is how does that impact consumer confidence? Are the consumers still confident in the market? Are they still out there buying and selling? Are consumers still trying to actually transact? Are people still moving? Are people still wanting to invest in homes? Are builders still building homes? Are developers still developing land? All of these things are going to be impacted by this new political landscape that we're entering into this year. And sure, he's been president before, but it's still, at the end of the day, we have a brand new president coming in this year, or a president that was not president last year, that's going to be president now, that is going to impact the market. There are going to be major economic impacts from this new change, and the key is consumer confidence. And that's going to play a huge role in buyers feeling like there's a sense of urgency to buy a home or not. So be sure to keep a lookout for that. Be sure to stay kind of plugged in with your agent on that. And that's something that, as a good agent, we're talking to other brokers and talking to lenders and talking to attorneys and title reps and everyone in the industry to figure out, what are they seeing? Are they seeing any impacts right now, or are they not? And if they are, how are they seeing these impacts, and how is it affecting their buyers and their sellers? So be sure to keep an eye out for that. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what our opinions are of the president. The fact is, we're getting a new president that's coming into office right now, and there will be changes. So keep an eye out for that. I know I said it like 4 times. I'd say it one more time. Keep an eye out for that, the consumer confidence, because it is going to play a huge role this year. So if you're ready to explore everything that Charlotte has to offer, be sure to check out our other videos and drop a comment below if you have any questions about anything that you saw today. We're always sharing new tips about the Charlotte market, and we would love to be able to help you find your perfect home here in this amazing city. Now, if I didn't scare you off, what are you waiting for? Let's start your Charlotte adventure today.